I'm sure we've all seen this graphic before in our teaching career. This is the Bloom's taxonomy for educational objectives. Basically, it's to continue to increase the rigor in the classroom. However, many districts are moving towards the Webb's version because of the depth of knowledge the DOK processes. Okay, so I just wanted to touch base quickly on this. So we know that DOK 1 is recall and reproduction. DOK 2 is basic thinking and reasoning. DOK 3 is strategic thinking and reasoning, and then DOK 4 is extended thinking and reasoning. So there's a distinct difference between these, and we want to keep pushing our kids to that strategic and extended, so the DOK 3 and 4. All right, so what I like to spend some time on is this question-answer relationship structure. It helps students understand that different types of questions require different types of thinking. Okay, so there are two different colors. So there's the in-text and the in-your-head. Okay, and then there's 4 different types of questions in the question-answer relationship model. Okay, so they're right there. These are the lower level Bloom's or Webb's questions whose answers can be pulled directly from the text. Often the words used in the question are mirrored in the text. It requires that literal thinking. Okay? The think and search is information from several parts of the text, and it's put together to generate an answer. So it requires literal thinking as well. However, there's a little bit more searching in the text. Okay? Author and you questions, some information is provided in the text, and the student is required to use background knowledge to create a complete understanding and answer. It is important to glean indirect information. This type of question requires students to think inferentially, okay? And it requires inferential and analytical thinking. The on your own is another type of question. The answers may not come from the text per se, although reading the passage will add to the student's background knowledge. In order to answer the question, background knowledge in the topic area is required. It requires analytical thinking or analytic thinking. On my own questions may not be fair questions for all students given their background knowledge. These questions might better serve learning if they are done in pairs or groups. Okay? All right, so I'd like to do an activity. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with the Declaration of Independence. However, I just want to pull some questions from here modeling that QAR model, okay? So here's the Declaration of Independence. I have also created copies of this if you would like to see the copy like in front of you, because I'm going to go to the next slide. So here we go. So here's that model, the QAR model, okay, and what types of questions can be formed based on those, based on the Declaration of Independence. So the right there questions are, what are the self-evident truths presented in the Declaration of Independence? What are 3 examples of unalienable rights that are listed? Okay, so those are those right there. They can be lifted directly from the text. The think and search questions are as follows. Why did the author believe the time had come to declare independence? And what did the authors argue was the purpose of government? Okay, these questions can be answered using information directly from the text, but information comes from different sections and must be put together. So these are like right there questions, but you have to kind of weave them together. Okay, author and you questions. In what ways does government impact your safety and happiness? In what ways did the wording of the Declaration of Independence allow or enable slavery and lack of women's rights? Okay, this is a good example of inferential questions. Students would need background knowledge about what all men are created equal means, slavery and women's rights. They would also need to read between the lines regarding the information in the Declaration of Independence. Okay, on my own questions are as follows. How does the United States Constitution embody the ideas found in the Declaration of Independence? And what are issues that we are currently addressing today that relate directly to the Declaration of Independence? Okay, so a lot of these, the students may not have that necessary background knowledge to answer. So there's nothing in the text that will allow students to access this information necessary for answering the question. However, they do need this information. They do need the passage, what's in the passage, in order to address these questions. Okay, so what I would like you to do, and I'm going to ask Mr. Lammers to hand out this activity. I have a handout for you, and it has more information about the QAR model. So first, what I'd like you to do, what I'm going to ask you to do, is take a look at those different types of questions that are listed in there. It will be extremely helpful whenever you're actually going and implementing these different strategies into your lessons for the remainder of the day. Then, whenever you're done reading through the 4 different QAR question model, I would like you to do the practice passage on the back. It says passage for practice in the back. Don't really worry about answering the questions, but focus on the type of question and then your reasoning behind the choice. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, or Mr. Lammers is going to give you 5 minutes to complete this. So please pause the video, Mr. Lammers, if you could. Thank you. All right, I hope after this activity you kind of got a little bit more solid on that QAR model. There are specific times where you're going to use certain questions, and then there's other times where you're going to use like the think on your own questions, etc. All right, so for the remainder of the day, I just wanted to briefly touch back on the recommendations for classroom practice for questions, okay? Those are ask inferential questions and ask analytic questions, all right? The must-dos for the rest of the day are complete your survey about CIT-WPD. So you'll be getting that. You're going to complete that at one of your last sessions of the day. Your may-dos are as follows. You can work with your job-alike person, or somebody outside of your area, a trusted partner, or independently, and work on implementation strategies for questions in upcoming lessons.